you're listening to 91.9 FPK, Independent Louisville. My name's Stacey Owen, and I'm in our lovely performance space with songwriter and singer Constance Hauman. Her new release is called High Tides on Isotopia Records. And I want to ask you a little bit about the album, but first I thought we'd learn a little bit more about your background, because I've been looking into that. And it's an incredibly varied background. You've done a lot of work in classical music.
Yes.
As a pianist and as a singer. You've played the Royal Opera House. You've done a one-woman show and indie rock to funk. So I suppose my question is, how does that happen? What's in your background that interests you?
I don't know how it happened. I mean, it's crazy. I love music. I've been a musician my whole life and a singer, and yes, the focus for, dare I say, 28, almost 30 years has been opera and classical music. But of course, started out as a little kid playing piano, and then my mother was a singer and a classical musician, so it was always in our house. And my father loved Earth, Wind, and Fire and Motown, and we lived down the road from Detroit. And I discovered Parliament Funkadelic when I was 13, and of course was listening to them, and Joni Mitchell, Laura Nyro. I mean, that was just infused me, as well as Ravel and Debussy and Strauss and all this other great, wonderful music. And I also was a big fan of the Young People's Concerts with Leonard Bernstein, which was all about there shouldn't be any genre prejudice between genres. If it's great music, it's great music. So that's always been in my psyche, and I've been really, really fortunate that I've worked with a lot of fantastic conductors and directors and composers of new music in the classical world, and I guess it never occurred to me that I could actually write. And when it started, it was about, I'd say around 2011 is when my life took a huge shift, and it just started pouring out of me, and it's one of the greatest joys. There are no words for how fun it is and how great it is, but it's still in my brain are all the great operas I've sung and classical pieces, and how it's an invaluable language that I have.
Well, I'm sure after you've done anything for almost 30 years, you're probably ready for a change, right?
Right, exactly. Yeah, exactly. But I didn't know it was coming, so it's been a really, I just can't even, I'm kind of astonished myself.
Well, the title song to your album is just lovely. Would you do that for us right now?
Sure.
We're talking to Constance Hauman. The new album is High Tides, and she's going to play the title song for us.
Like the rarest of high tides, releasing icebergs out to sea. He unhinged in me a crazy synergy. Tides so huge they created a mirage. Ideal conditions that painted false image. Dark sea and starry sky blurred all the boundaries, and for that I offered up my humblest apologies. Tides are not controllable, nor the music when it arrives. The overwhelming rarity can't find another parity except the passion consolable of love in someone's eyes. His lady is the luckiest of passengers in the lifeboat of his heart. So drunk or sober, I have to be respectful of their loyal stars. that I offered up my humblest apologies, my humblest apologies. Like the rarest of high tides, releasing icebergs everywhere, I am sinking like a ship to the bottom of the iceberg's lair. But I want to steer the ship from unnecessary doom and try to be happy as if he were her groom. Dark sea and starry sky blurred all the boundaries, and for that I offered up again my humblest apologies, my humblest apologies. Save me from sinking like the silent Titanic. When the energy starts to dance, I begin to panic. Love has brought me to my knees before. That's why I would be content just to find peace on the ocean's floor.
High Tides. You're listening to Constance Hauman, and that's the title song from her upcoming release, coming out this Friday, right?
Friday. Yeah.
Where are you based?
I'm based in New York City.
In New York. Are there any big plans, a big party or show going?
Actually, no, because this recording is out on my label, Isotopia Records, and I have a lot of other artists who need me, and we have a lot of other releases coming up. And the other band that I actually play keys in, I'm the music director for, is called Miss Velvet and the Blue Wolf. And it's indie funk, and we're on tour with George Clinton and Parliament Funkadelic. And we just finished recording our second album, and we're in the process of mixing it. And it's very exciting because George is on 2 of our tracks. So I'm just going to be doing some radio things for High Tides and getting back to all my children who need my attention.
Sounds like you're a busy woman.
Yes, yes.
So it sounds like this is a passion project in a way for you. Can you talk a little bit about the themes kind of running through the album? Because I listened to the release and I'm hearing, well, you're talking about high tides, the ocean, icebergs in that latest song, and I feel like in some ways you're talking about emotions mirroring nature in a way.
Yes, exactly. I feel very close to nature and to the spiritual world, and how, and to all the different aspects of love, as I've had a lot of experience in all the different types of love and different relationships and marriage and unrequited love and love from long ago that comes back. I mean, just that's something that drives us and holds us all together, is every aspect of love. And then, of course, the largest love there is, which for me is the untenable, but it's there, the vibration of love, the frequency of love that's in everything, and particularly what music is for, to feel that and go beyond language. And I am not shy to say my life fell apart in a way that I had to re-examine and re-evaluate everything. So there's a song on my first album called Burn the House Down, and it's really kind of what happened. I had to burn everything down to discover this, which is something I started around 14 or 15, and never saw it through because my classical career took off, and I got to a point where I had nothing to lose, and I have a lot of classical recordings out there, and so I was very intrigued with what it would, to start a record label in a time where everyone's saying you're crazy to start a record label because nobody listens to CDs anymore, vinyl, which is also not true at all, and that it's a big world out there. And just because corporations are deciding that there's only one way to listen to music, that you have to fight the fight because there are still audiences out there. It doesn't matter if it's even a small audience that wants physical product. To me, it was a way to translate all the theater I've done and all the opera I've done to make theatrical packaging and have a tactile, sensual experience of listening to music.
Well, a lot of folks are buying vinyl these days, and I think it's because of that connection.
Right.
Back to the way people used to enjoy listening to music.
Yeah, and I mean, I love the age I am now because I feel like I lived through the best years of everything, of, growing up where going to a record store was a main event with your friends. I mean, a huge main event. And you can't wait for that record to come out and go to someone's house and listen to it. And there was so much excitement around it. And now it's become, in a way, blasé because there's so much, because you can just throw anything out there, and you still need the organization and the structure of a label to help artists develop and be nurtured. And that's my passion for it.
Mm-hmm. Well, going back to what you're talking about is love kind of being the theme running through the album. The next song you're going to do for us is called Love Burns.
Yeah.
You want to tell us a little bit about it before you play it for us?
Yeah, it's when you are in a relationship and you know the person is completely bullshitting you, and you probably know you shouldn't go there because it's bad, but it feels so good, and you are setting yourself up, but you do it anyway.
Constance Hauman, this is Love Burns on 91.9.
Don't fool me. I know a liar when I smell one. Don't flatter me. I always know when you want something. I've been around the block more than you. You're not fooling me with all you don't do. I just decide to pay it no mind, 'cause I love the love burn inside. Don't walk on me. My back is stronger than your step. Don't promise me I'm good at breaking all the ones that I kept. I've played this game longer than you. You're not fooling me with all of your rules. I just decide to pay it no mind, 'cause I love the love burn inside. Burn me because I don't get hurt. I've already been down there rolling in the dirt. Bleed me 'cause my blood gets transfused. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter, 'cause we're both, we're getting used. Don't pressure me. My feelings for you I'll always deny. I can't love more freely than you. You're not fooling me with all of your clues. I just decide to pay it no mind, 'cause I love the love burn inside. Burn me because I don't get hurt. I've already been down there rolling in the dirt. Bleed me 'cause my blood gets transfused. It doesn't matter. 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 'Cause we're both, we are getting used. Burn me, burn me. Burn me.
That's Love Burns, Constance Hauman here at 91.9 FPK. Constance, you were talking about running a label, you're touring with a funk band, you're so busy, and you've in more recent years discovered your songwriting passion. I'm just wondering a little bit about your process there. Do you just write alone, or have you written with people on your label?
I write alone. I mean, my stuff I write alone. I keep my recording equipment up all the time in my house when it hits me. And it's a very strange sensation because I went through a period of like 2 years as if in my subconscious I had all this going on. And then when finally everything broke apart, it was like a tsunami of I have all these vintage suitcases with lyrics and they often come together with the song, like download. And then I started, this album wouldn't be possible, the first one, without my brilliant drummer and co-producer, Ross Peterson. And he is my witness to my crazy way of writing, because oftentimes we work together and he'll just like create a beat. And sometimes in the case of Painful Strangers, he wrote a track and then I went, oh my God, I know what goes on this. And that became Painful Strangers, but it happened very quickly. Then with Miss Velvet and the Blue Wolf, that's more a collective way of writing with everybody in the band. And I also often will hear just a poem and I call it downloading because it just comes really fast. And then I'll go back to it later and see how I can take that and reduce it to the rhythm of a riff I might come up with. So,
Well, it sounds like such a gift to just have songs kind of download.
well, it's crazy. And I mean, not to sound super corny, but when it started happening, I would just start crying and freaking out, like, what's going on? And it's I don't even know. I say all the time, like to Ross, I don't even know how this is happening. It's so crazy. So, it makes me really happy. I don't know what else to say. Not that I haven't loved singing other people's music. I do. And there's so many great composers. It's like, I don't know what any of this could have happened had I not like had a base of Mozart my whole life, and would often play when I was singing opera. No one knew I even played piano, but it was how I could learn scores really fast and jump in. I was often replacing singers at the last minute because I could learn really quickly. And then I started when people knew that, and then I did Lulu by Berg, one of the greatest composers ever, and such a groundbreaking piece. When people knew that I sang that, and that was and it still is out as a well-known recording, I started getting asked by modern contemporary composers to do world premieres of very difficult scores, and one in particular that was really exciting. That when I look back on it, started making me think of using my voice in many different ways was Lost Highway. The David Lynch movie was turned into an opera by this brilliant Austrian composer, Olga Neuwirth. And in that, I did the world premiere of that in Europe. And she had the beginning of the piece. My character went through just speaking dialogue like in the film, then to half singing, not really Sprechgesang as people know in classical music, but she wanted it a little different. Too difficult to explain here, and then sort of pop singing. And then that went into Baroque singing because they are kind of related. And then at the very end of the opera, I had a huge sort of dramatic soprano where I could really let loose. And so when I look back on that, and then another experience that came out of left field was the Gary Marshall of Happy Days and Pretty Woman and all of that. I did his the first time he ever directed an opera, and we became great friends. And I did my one-woman show at his theater in L.A., the Falcon Theater, and then he invited me to play the role of Florence Foster Jenkins in a wonderful two-person play called Souvenir, Fantasy on Florence Foster Jenkins. And it was really scary because I knew who she was, and it's hilarious. And I'd heard her recordings, and she sings completely off pitch and squawks like a parrot, and everything. But I had to unlearn almost every aria in her big Carnegie Hall scene I had sung for real, where everyone's looking at you like that high C better be perfect, and then I had to completely erase it, and it was very difficult. But I think doing that unleashed something in my brain that was resistant to playing by ear or being able to put down music I heard all the time, because my brain was so on sight reading and learning scores and learning roles and learning languages that the letting go part needed
that creative spark, right?
Yeah, needed this challenge of just go for it, girl, sing out of tune, sing horribly, scream. Yeah, so it's interesting because that was around 2010, and this huge wave of stuff started around 2011.
So is that play you were in what sparked the movie production?
No, but I mean, there was that play won a Tony, not with me in it, with another, a premiere was with Judy Kay. And then it's been done in a lot of theaters, and then someone got the great idea to write a script for the film, which was last year or something. Yeah.
Well, you're so interesting. I could talk to you forever, but I better turn you loose. But can I have one more song before
Yes.
I let you go?
I'm going to play Waiting for You.
Constance Hauman. She's performing songs from her new release, High Tides, on 91.9 FPK.
The grass is always greener when there's restlessness inside. We're all meant to be dreamers. That's why the stars don't lie. Now they say there's a super planet that the eye will never see, but I've heard the harmonies that connect the trees. That's why I know I was waiting for scientist once said, home is where the heart is. That's never left my head. And there were times couldn't see the forest through the trees, and the pain and the beauty of life brought me to my knees. That's why I know I was waiting for you, waiting for you. All the world's a stage, a playwright once said, we're actors on his stage. That's why we can change life every day. And there were times I listened to negativity, but now all I believe in is electricity. That's why I know I was waiting for you, waiting for you, waiting for
Waiting for You, Constance Hauman. Her new release, High Tides, is out this Friday on Isotopia Records. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you so much for having me.
It's lovely speaking to you.
Thank you. Thank you.